So according to the nation's official, professional, objective consumer watchdog, the supermarket giants have been ripping you off. Yeah, in the middle of a cost of living crisis, apparently the big duopoly have been having a lend of us. The ACCC reckons Coles and Woolies have been fiddling with their prices, massaging them upwards first so that they then drop them, but not by as much, to offer you a so-called discount when they're actually charging you more.
We allege that Woolworths and Coles offered the products at regular long-term prices for 6 months or more, then increased the price for a short period before placing the products on the Woolworths Prices Dropped promotion or the Coles Down promotion at prices higher than or the same as the prior regular price. As a result, the ACCC alleges that the price discounts as promoted were misleading because the discount was illusory.
Illusory, all right. Dodgy is the way you and I would sum it up. It sounds pretty tricky, doesn't it? No doubt some of you have noticed these tricky pricing practices in action. The regulator will now take the supermarket giants to court, alleging misleading advertising. Have a listen to this specific example of what they're alleging.
The example I will give is a sale by Woolworths of Oreo family biscuits, initially at a price of $3.50 for close to 2 years. Then an increase in price to $5 for a 22-day period compared to the nearly 2 years, and then the price returning to a $4.50 price when it was put onto the Prices Dropped campaign, with a comparison of $4.50 to $5, not $4.50 to $3.50. And that was actually an over 20% increase, a 29% increase in price compared to the prior regular price.
Yeah, we talked last week a lot about the $6 Tim Tams. Perhaps that was all part of the ruse to offer a $5.50 discount somewhere down the track. We'll leave all that to the court now. That's what the ACCC and the courts are there for. But it didn't take long for the Labor government and Anthony Albanese to try to piggyback on this news story to suggest they are doing something about the price of eggs and all groceries. Fresh off his jet back from the US, the Prime Minister called a media conference to talk about that mandatory supermarket code of practice that he's been promising for some time. He wants you to know that he cares about the rising cost of living. You know, that little problem he promised he'd take care of, and he's taking on the supermarkets. The coalition wants the mandatory code to be even tougher, including powers to sell off supermarkets, providing a bigger stick to make the big two play fair. That debate will play out later in Parliament, no doubt, but for now, Albanese even claims the supermarkets have been helping to keep interest rates up because they're fuelling inflation.
When you're charging more for products than you should, it of course has an inflationary impact by definition. And we know that inflation is what the Reserve Bank is concentrating on in terms of monetary policy, as they should, to try to get it down to the band of 2 to 3%.
Well, that's a fair argument, of course, but if Albo's going to use that bit of accepted economic wisdom, he must also accept that by pumping more and more money into the economy with his record government spending, the Labor government and its state mates are also fueling inflation. But that bit of economic orthodoxy always seems to escape the Prime Minister. Little wonder then he's struggling in the polls, polling lower now than he did at the last election, just a 31% primary vote for Labor, as opposed to the coalition's 38%, which is up 2 points from the last election. Yet the two major parties are still locked together 50-50 on the two-party preferred count, largely because Labor's Greens mates are polling 13%. So for now, despite not being in front for the last 3 news polls, the PM can still say this.
We haven't lost a news poll since I've been Prime Minister. We haven't lost a news poll since I've been Prime Minister.
Yeah, but for how long will he be able to say that? especially when inflation, interest rates and the cost of living are such hot-button issues. Labor is flailing around on them, and in fact, with affordability issues growing, housing tops the list of issues worrying voters most, along with grocery prices and electricity bills. So there's little joy on the horizon for Labor. And if the government seems aimless and all over the shop, then the opposition leader is offering the bold reform of nuclear power.
Clean nuclear energy is reliable. It will underpin renewables. It will get the cost of electricity down. It will keep the lights on. And the opportunity for Labor now is to put down the juvenile arguments against nuclear.
That's a fair offer, but all Labor wants to do is run a scare campaign against nuclear. You know, one moment it's three-eyed fish and then it's health scares, and now it's the cost.
We know it doesn't add up. That's why, along with part of their anti-capitalism agenda, they're saying that the state should own all the nuclear power plants because no one in any market-based system would go anywhere near it.
That's a very odd claim, given that Labor has not and cannot detail the timing and cost of its renewables plus storage model. What will that cost? What has it already cost? How much further will prices go up? Will we run out of electricity in summer? Why can't Labor answer a few energy questions when its plan is failing on cost and reliability grounds? Besides, the cost argument is difficult to stack up when Australia is the only one of the world's top 20 economies that doesn't either have nuclear power stations or have them on the drawing board. In the US, the giant Microsoft Corporation is looking to guarantee electricity supplies for some of its data centres by ensuring the restart of Pennsylvania's 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant, which famously suffered a non-lethal accident in one reactor back in 1979, but where another reactor operated until just 5 years ago.
They have agreed to buy the power from that reactor, if it's restarted, for 20 years. And so it will be. By 2028, it should be up and running again. Nuclear power again coming from 3 Mile Island. Nuclear power advocates saying nuclear is a lot safer now than it was in 1979.
Yeah, nuclear is now seen by most countries as an essential part of the clean energy mix, along with renewables and gas peaking. But Labor is left opposing nuclear and promoting a plan that many experts say just cannot work, and they're scrounging around for a coherent agenda of their own. Little wonder the polls are going down. Not pretend down like supermarket prices, but properly down.